Ashes of Earth. The sky burned for 3 days. It began without sirens, without warnings, without a single politician uttering the word war. One moment, Earth was alive, bustling cities, children on their way to school, trains rushing through tunnels, and the next, the heavens tore open. The alien Draal descended in black, jagged ships that eclipsed the sun. Their arrival wasn't a slow invasion. It was an execution. I watched from the roof of my apartment in Queens when it started, the air rippling, clouds boiling away as a shadow swallowed Manhattan. Then came the first blast, a column of white-blue energy, hotter than the sun, that struck Times Square and vaporized everything in a 2-kilometer radius. The shockwave threw me across the rooftop, the skin on my arms blistering instantly. When I stood up, the skyline was gone. All of it. By the second hour, they weren't targeting military bases. They were erasing population centers, deleting the human race one city at a time. Shanghai, London, Sao Paulo, Lagos. It wasn't conquest. It was cleansing. They called their weapons disassemblers. I saw what one could do up close in Denver. The beam hit a skyscraper, and instead of collapsing into rubble, the building's atoms simply came apart, dissolving into a glittering haze. The people inside didn't scream. They didn't even have time to understand. 1 second, they were alive. The next, they were dust on the wind. We later learned the Draal had perfected the technology to disintegrate matter at a molecular level, storing the harvested energy to fuel their ships. But in those first weeks, all we knew was that our home was disappearing. The governments tried to fight back. Fleets launched from Earth and lunar base, thousands of ships in desperate formation. None returned. The Draal's orbital sentinels cut them down in minutes. Even our nuclear arsenals were useless, intercepted and neutralized before they ever left the stratosphere. By day 4, communications between continents had collapsed. The last public broadcast I ever saw came from an Australian news anchor, her face pale and trembling as she spoke. We have confirmed global casualty estimates exceeding 5 billion. Repeat, 5 billion dead. Survivors are advised to move underground or into heavily shielded areas. If you can hear this, God help you. She didn't finish the sentence before the feed cut to static. I was 17 then. My father didn't make it out of New York. My mother made it to the shelters beneath the Appalachians. She lasted 2 weeks before starvation and sickness claimed her. The Draal didn't just kill us. They hunted the ones who remained. They deployed cleaners, tall, insectoid machines that stalked through the ruins, their heads swiveling with alien precision. Each carried a weapon like a glass spine that pulsed with cold light. One touch, and you were gone. They didn't rush. They didn't need to. Humanity was already broken. The population fell from billions to millions, then to thousands. We stopped thinking like a civilization. We thought like prey. We slept in saws and maintenance shafts, covered our heat signatures with mud, moved only under cloud cover. The smell of burning cities became normal. The sound of distant screams was background noise. And yet, one question never stopped burning in me. Why? Why erase us entirely? Why make the effort to scour the planet clean when they could have simply taken it? That question, more than fear, more than hunger, kept me alive. Because if the Draal had a reason, it meant there was something about humanity they feared. And maybe, just maybe, that meant we still had a chance. The signal in the dark. It was in the third winter after the fall that I first heard the signal. The snow had been falling for days, muffling the world into a dead, white silence. I was holed up in the remains of a hydroelectric plant in what used to be Pennsylvania, living off frozen rat meat and whatever canned goods I could scavenge from the ruins. My only light came from a small, hand-cranked radio I'd modified to scan more than just the dead human bands. Most days it was nothing but static and the faint hum of alien telemetry. That night, though, I heard a voice. It was broken, warped by interference, but human, undeniably human. Anyone receiving coordinates, safe haven, we fight back. My hand shook so badly I almost dropped the radio. I replayed it 3 times, scribbling down the numbers. Whoever they weren't broadcasting from underground. This was coming from the surface, somewhere the Draal hadn't wiped clean yet. I left the hydro plant the next morning. Travel was suicide. The Draal cleaners still patrolled, their long, skeletal legs clicking on ice, head scanning for thermal signatures. I avoided open ground, moving through culverts and under shattered bridges, sometimes crawling for hours in frozen mud just to bypass a single patrol. Once, I saw one of them up close, less than 10 meters away, its translucent armor plates revealing the black, insectile mass beneath. It didn't breathe, didn't even seem alive in the way we understood life. After 12 days, I reached the coordinates. They led me to a half-collapsed freight tunnel beneath an abandoned rail yard. The entrance was shielded with scrap metal and painted with a crude white symbol, a human handprint, fingers spread, inside a circle. I hesitated only a second before knocking in the pattern the voice had repeated on the broadcast. 3 short, 2 long, 1 short. A gun barrel appeared through a narrow slit. State your name. A voice growled. Daniel Holt, I said. 17. From New York. There was a pause, then the sound of bolts being drawn back. The makeshift door groaned open, and I was pulled inside by gloved hands. The tunnel beyond was dimly lit with scavenged lead strips. Dozens of people were there, gaunt, hollow-eyed survivors in patchwork armor, their weapons a mix of old-world rifles and alien tech bolted onto human frames. At the far end stood a tall woman with cropped hair, a jagged scar running from her temple to her jaw. "You made it," she said. I stared at her. "You're the one on the radio." She nodded. "Name's Captain Reza Cortez, former United Earth Fleet." It was the first time I'd heard someone speak the old military title in years. Reza led me deeper into the tunnel, past makeshift bunks and a crude command center built from scavenged Draal tech. On a central table sat a flickering holomap of Earth, red zones marking Draal-controlled territories. Almost the entire planet glowed crimson. Only a few scattered white marks, resistance cells, remained. "We call ourselves the Remnant," Reza said. "We're what's left of the Unified Defense Force, plus any civilians with the guts to keep fighting. Most just hide. But hiding won't save us." I frowned. "You really think we can win? Against them?" Her eyes burned into mine. "We don't have to win. Holt, we just have to survive long enough to find their weakness and kill it." That night, I learned the truth. 3 weeks earlier, one of their scouts had intercepted a fragment of Draal command data, an encrypted pulse bouncing between orbital sentinels. Their tech specialist, a quiet man named Amani, was trying to break it. He believed it contained something vital, a location or a vulnerability. But the Draal knew someone was listening. They had doubled patrols, started sweeping the region with hunter-killer drones. Every time the Remnant transmitted, the enemy closed in faster. Reza's voice dropped to a whisper when she told me, "If Amani's right, that signal could be the key to ending this. But we need time. We need fighters. And we need people willing to bleed." I didn't even hesitate. "Then you've got me," I said. For the first time in 3 years, I wasn't just surviving. I had a purpose. And I swore, as I looked at that flickering red holomap, that I would never stop, not until the Draal bled for every human life they had taken. Becoming the Remnant. Getting off Earth was suicide. The skies belonged to the Draal, their sentry ships orbiting like vultures. We stole an ancient orbital shuttle from a museum. Half its systems were dead, the heat shielding worn to paper. It took 3 weeks of scavenging to bring it online, patching it with scrap metal and cannibalized drones. The launch was chaos. We lost 2 in the climb, fried by orbital lasers before we reached the upper atmosphere. By some miracle, we punched through and coasted towards Saturn's distant moons, hoping the Draal wouldn't notice a piece of space junk drifting off course. Titan was worse than I imagined. The Draal were already there, swarming over the ice plains in black skimmers. Admiral Tanaka's base was buried beneath the methane fog, hidden under a mile of ice. We fought like cornered wolves, shotguns, rail pistols, even explosives made from mining fuel. When we finally broke into the command chamber, I saw Project Lazarus for the first time. It wasn't a bomb. It was a virus, digital, invasive, designed to overwrite Draal Fleet AI with a single command: stand down. The last strike. The plan was desperate. Insert the Lazarus virus directly into the Draal flagship's core. No one had ever boarded one and lived. We rode a stolen skimmer into the flagship's hangar under fake transponder codes. The moment our boots hit the deck, The Draal knew. Alarm screamed. Gravity shifted as they tried to shake us off. Fighting through the corridors felt like tearing through the inside of a nightmare, metal dripping like it was alive, walls shifting to block our path. We lost half a team before we reached the core chamber, where the AI pulsed like a living heart. I plugged in the Lazarus drive. The Draal AI spoke in my head, a voice like fractured glass. You are nothing. You will be forgotten. I smiled through blood. Not today. The virus spread in seconds. Across the system, Draal ships froze mid-flight, weapons falling silent. On Earth, the cleaners stopped in their tracks. In the black sky above, the Draal fleet detonated one by one as we escaped in the chaos. We were all that was left, but we were enough. And if the Draal ever came back, we'd be waiting.